Some places don't appear on any map. They have no names, no addresses. Yet, all of us have been there. Maybe some of us are still there. These aren't physical locations. They're places made of thoughts, emotions, memories, old wounds. They don't exist in the real world, but they can trap us for a lifetime. Carl Jung, one of the greatest psychoanalysts in history, had one consistent message in all his work. The real enemy isn't always out there. Sometimes it lives within us. The things that hurt us aren't always external, betrayal by someone else or the cruelty of life. Sometimes they're the mental spaces we get stuck in, dark corners of the mind that slowly eat away at our self-worth. In this video, we're going to explore 5 of these dangerous mental places with Jung as our guide. These are places where your mind can get stuck, and if you don't find your way out in time, they'll quietly and ruthlessly take everything from you. So if you don't want to wake up one day and realize it's already too late, stay with me. Together, with the help of Jung's psychological roadmap, we'll search for a way out of the darkness. The mental trap, the maze of overthinking. Let's start with a simple question. Who said thinking too much is always a sign of intelligence? Sometimes it's actually a sign of fear. How many times have you thought so much that you missed out on actually living? Jung said the human mind is like an endless labyrinth, full of twists, loops, and voices. Not all of them mean something, but often we confuse obsessive thoughts with wisdom. We keep thinking, trying to logic our way through pain, predict the future, or fix the past with imagination. But it doesn't work like that. Not everything is meant to be analyzed. Some things need to be felt, lived, and experienced, because a huge part of who we are lies in the unconscious, the part of the mind we can't access directly, but which heavily influences our emotions, decisions, and behavior. And the unconscious doesn't speak the language of reason. It speaks through emotion, instinct, and intuition. Overthinking gives us a false sense of control. It feels safe. But in truth, the root of overthinking is fear. Fear disguised as intelligence. And it can paralyze us, not just in decision-making, but emotionally too. Let me give you an example. Imagine someone gets a job offer abroad. They start thinking, what if I go and regret it? What if I stay and miss my only chance? What if I fail? They wake up with these thoughts, go to bed with them, talk to friends, search the internet. But the more they think, the more confused they become. Eventually, either they make no decision, or if they do, they're too exhausted to enjoy it. Jung once said something that lights up the darkness. Don't try to solve life, feel it. Have you ever lost a life-changing opportunity because you overthought it? What held you back? Tell us in the comments. 2. The swamp of resentment. This is the place where old wounds stay alive. Some pain fades over time, others grow heavier with it. Like a wound you reopen each night by replaying the same story. Jung believed that suffering, if combined with insight, can lead to growth. But if you keep recycling the same pain without understanding it, it doesn't stay just pain anymore. It turns into resentment. Resentment is old pain that we refuse to let go of. Why did they do that to me? Why didn't they love me? Why did they betray me? Each time you replay the story, it seeps deeper into your being, not because of what they did, but because you're doing it to yourself now. The most dangerous thing about this swamp? Your wounds start becoming your identity. You begin saying things like, everyone betrays, no one can be trusted, one day they'll regret it. But these aren't healing thoughts. They're disguised revenge fantasies, false hopes that fool you into staying stuck. Resentment won't hurt the one who hurt you. It won't bring justice. It only destroys you from the inside. So what should you do? Pretend nothing happened? Ignore your pain? No. Jung talks about something called psychological alchemy. It means turning pain into awareness, not by forgetting what happened, but by understanding it, feeling it, giving it meaning. No therapist can tell you to just get over it. In fact, you have to see your wound, clearly, bravely. But then you must say, yes, it happened. It hurt. but it will not define the rest of my life. Forgiveness, in Jung's work, isn't about excusing someone, it's about freeing yourself from them. Repressed anger doesn't disappear, it lingers, and real peace comes when you transform it, when you ask, what did I learn from this? What boundaries do I need? How can I protect myself without becoming consumed by hate? 3. The desert of isolation. This is the place where people fear connection. Jung said, if you think cutting ties and hiding inside yourself will heal your wounds, you're wrong. Many hurt people retreat into themselves and call it peace or solitude. But really, it's an emotional desert, vast, empty, quiet, but lifeless. You try to convince yourself, I don't need anyone, people are dangerous, love means risk, and I've had enough. At first, this path feels empowering. No attachments, no betrayals, no disappointments. But slowly, the silence starts suffocating you. You build walls, you rely only on yourself, and you see every gesture of closeness through a lens of suspicion and fear. But what are you really running from? People, or the parts of yourself you think no one will love if they see? You can't fully heal by only talking to yourself. Healing requires being seen by another human being. Here's an example. Someone who was constantly criticized as a child grows up saying, I just want to be alone. I hate everyone. But their old wounds are still alive. And until they enter a safe, non judgmental relationship where they can experience being accepted, that wound will never truly close. It might go quiet, but it won't disappear. Jung said, we are wounded in relationships, and we can only be healed in relationships. 4. The prison of shame and guilt. Some prisons aren't made of bars, they're made of shame and guilt. Jung called shame one of the most destructive psychological forces because it doesn't yell, it whispers, you're not enough, you're unlovable, you're fundamentally broken. Jung made a crucial distinction. Guilt says, I made a mistake. Shame says, I am a mistake. That tiny difference changes everything. Shame doesn't just make you feel bad, it convinces you that your very existence is flawed, and that's devastating. So, how do we escape it? Jung once wrote, healing doesn't begin with perfection, it begins with acceptance. You're not supposed to be flawless, and you don't have to deny your mistakes. But punishing yourself endlessly, that's self harm. It paralyzes your soul. The brave act is to sit down with that harsh inner critic and ask, is this really my voice? Or is it the voice of a strict parent, a shaming teacher, or a toxic society? Who taught you that you had to be perfect to be loved? When you realize those voices aren't yours, you gain the courage to finally say no to shame. 5. The house of denial. Not all houses are built with bricks. Some are built from denial, from hiding, ignoring, and running from things you don't want to face. If you constantly say, forget it, I don't want to think about it, you're making a serious mistake. What you avoid doesn't vanish. It just goes deeper, into the shadows of your unconscious, where it quietly starts controlling your life. Jung wrote, until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate. So, what is the unconscious? It's that hidden part of the mind where we bury everything we don't want to face, our anger, fears, envy, shame, wounds, and even our unlived potential, crushed by the fear of judgment. Jung called this hidden part the shadow. It's not evil, it's simply unknown, and because we fear the unknown, we deny it. But if you don't face your shadow, it takes full control. That's why sometimes one simple comment makes you explode, or you sabotage a great relationship for no clear reason, and life becomes an endless loop of heartbreak, confusion, and repetition. Living in the house of denial means living in darkness. You start seeing flaws in everyone but yourself. You think the whole world is broken, except you. Nothing sums this up better than a line by Attar of Nishapur. Everything you see outside is a reflection of what you haven't faced within. So next time anger or jealousy shows up, don't run. Don't fake a smile. Don't suppress it. Ask it, where did you come from? What are you trying to tell me? Because if you keep denying your shadow, it drags you into chaos. But if you see it, understand it, and embrace it, you take back control of your life. Now it's your turn. Have you, or someone close to you, gotten stuck in one of these places? Which one? And are you ready to leave and breathe freely again? Share with us in the comments.